You're listening to What About Me, where I, along with my guests, take a deep dive into those personal struggles and the internal dialogue that is stopping you from doing the very thing that would cause you to have even more success, more money, more relationship, and more abundance in your life. I'm Keisha Dixon, the Tapping Queen, transformational wealth coach, creator of the Monetize Your Mind Success System and the Visibility Vixen Success System. I have with me today my special recurring guest. And anytime I have a recurring guest on the show, that means I know that she brings with her a wisdom and an insight that I believe more people need in their life. Today I have with me Dr. Dravon James of Everyday Peace with Dr. Dravon James. And her focus is to educate, empower, and inspire others to build the life of their dreams. As an author and a speaker and a radio show host, Dr. Dravon teaches others how to utilize everything that shows up in their lives, the good, the bad, and everything in between, as stepping stones on the path to building the life of their dreams. Dr. Dravon's journey began in poverty on the south side of Chicago, and she went on to earn a doctorate degree in pharmacy from Creighton University. Dr. Dravon knows that she knows that through it all, difficulties or pleasantries, she possesses the power within her, not only to create her own dream life, but also to help others do the same. Thank you so much, Dr. Dravon James. I'm excited to have you here again as we wrap up our 4-part discussion on the brilliant life. I know that we both felt a real need and a real desire to talk about the brilliant life with our listening audience today. Welcome.
Thank you, Keisha. I am excited to be here with you and our listening audience today because we are going to put the icing on the cupcake for the brilliant life, right? Because if you're still wondering if you are living your brilliant life, if you have to ask, you got the answer. And if you're still wondering whether or not you can live a brilliant life, because you've got so many things going on with the things that are already in your life. Today, we're going to demystify that for you because the answer to that is absolutely you can. I began my journey as a person, as a woman, when I left poverty, and that was somebody else's journey. I was part of that, and I'm lucky to be part of that team because I learned stuff there too. But I entered into the world of pharmacy school, and I entered into that world. Most people know my story. My brother, when I was 17, gave me a book, The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale, and that book shaped my life. It was there that I really, really embraced the idea that it was all about perspective. And I really believed that. And I entered pharmacy school at that point in time, and I knew from reading that book that I was meant to do something in service to people to help them realize the life of their dreams. I was sure that it had nothing to do with their physical bodies. But I had already committed to the program, right? And so when I was there, I studied really hard, but I knew I had this burning thing. I got through that program and my career progressed. And I was in a place where I was serving people, doing really, really good work. But it wasn't my heart's desire. It was not my heart's desire. And it caused me to keep questioning myself. Some of you may know what that's like. I kept questioning myself and my self-worth because I really wasn't doing what I knew I was meant to do on the inside. My career, my path, my jobs were grueling. From many parts of my career, many, many years, I was at my desk by 3:30 in the morning. And sometimes I worked till 11 o'clock at night. Can you believe that?
Wow.
3:30 in the morning to 11 o'clock at night. And there's always going to be more work to do. But part of that was that I think on some level, I was punishing myself.
Yes.
Not doing my true purpose. That sounds crazy. I can say that now, years looking back. Of course, I didn't see it then. I was so dog tired, and I thought I was just doing what I need to do to keep up and to be good at, not the best, but good at what I did. And that went on for years. It went on for years. In the pit of my stomach, I had, some of you know what this is like. On Sunday, I'd get that churning in my stomach. My soul was telling me that yet again, I was dragging Dravon into a journey that was not hers. You know how they say in Mission Impossible, this is your mission if you choose to accept it. right? My soul was saying, this is not your mission. Will you choose to reject it? And it was giving me all the physical signs. Eventually I developed, believe this, an autoimmune disorder from the stress associated with what I was denying myself.
Yes.
I had to listen. But get this, everyone, I want you to hear my heart on this. Because through it all, I knew that inspirational speaking, inspiring people was what I wanted to do. I didn't know how to do it because no one in my circle was doing that. No one in my circle was doing that. And so that's why I'm so passionate about this brilliant life, is because I don't need to necessarily resonate with what you want to do. You may want to be a pilot. I've never had desire to be a pilot. But what I will resonate with you and partner with you, and Keisha will as well, is on the steps that you need to take to unleash that part of your internal presence onto your external physical world to make that a reality. I am so happy. It took me a long time. It took me a long time because there was no brilliant life to hold my hand. I kept picking up pieces here and there and I put it together, much like Keisha probably did. I kept picking up pieces here and there and I began the study of peace. You guys know that Everyday Peace with Dr. Dravon James, I believe that every goal that we have in our life can be summed up into 3 categories: health, wealth, and relationship. And we built this brilliant life on that. Health, wealth, and relationship, every goal in your life. And you've got to have balance in all 3 in order for you truly to experience brilliance in your overall life. That's so important. But we put together, I started studying peace at age 17 and just really looking and digging into that. And the definition that I use for peace is wholeness, completeness, nothing missing, nothing broken, totality. Now just go ahead and think about that concept as it relates to your health. Nothing missing, wholeness, completeness, totality, nothing missing in your wealth category, right? I know we believe wealth drives everything. We can have all this money, but you got to have that relationship category in check too. Relationship with self, your higher being, whatever you call that, your other external relationships, all of that is tied into your brilliant life. Maybe there's a business inside of you. There was a business goal inside of me, right? But there was more than a business. I want to reach out and help people to really overcome some blockages in their life. And that's how we came up with the Brilliant Life. We are super excited about this boutique style that we're starting out with a limited number of people, right, Keisha?
Yeah.
That we're taking into our goal, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, Dr. Dravon, thank you so much for sharing that. I could particularly relate to the long hours and also the Sunday night blues because I absolutely experienced it. And every time I hear the phrase, the brilliant life, and I know you and I have been using that phrase a lot, it reminds me of where I was a few years ago and how I left my 6-figure corporate career and how I relocated to another state and purchased a home less than a mile from the beach. And within 13 days from site to closing with the keys in hand, and how I now live an intentionally stress and worry-free life. You know, and I'm going to share how I did that with everyone. First, though, I need to paint a picture because it wasn't always like this. It was as far from this as as the sun is from the earth. For 6 years, I commuted to my job in New York City, over 84 miles from Pennsylvania by bus, and my commute each way was 2 to 3 hours, depending on traffic patterns. So each way, I would be spending about 6 hours on a bus. I'd leave my home at 5:30 in the morning. I wouldn't arrive back home until 9 or 10 at night. And I'm a single mom of 6, and 4 of my children at the time were living at home with me, fully dependent on me and my single income. And we're talking about a brilliant life here. And like I said earlier, this was, in my mind, as far from the brilliant life as the moon is from the sun, as the sun is from the earth. So let me tell you why. Because my job was incredibly stressful. And while a blessing on paper, I was making mid-6 figures, and it's a job that continues to bless others, right? I felt completely miserable. And that misery, I felt it to my bone, like in my bones. particularly the first 3 hours on the bus and the last 3 hours on the bus. I could just feel it physically, like weighing me down. And sometimes I even referred to that bus commute or the bus as my moving coffin, because I felt like it was transporting me back and forth to earn this living, this really stressful living, and left me with this feeling of the life was just being sucked out of me. I felt like I was being sucked dry. Did you experience that at all early on in your career?
As you saying that, Keisha, I'm like having this experience, this internal experience in my gut, because that feeling like what I'm doing is so worthy, but it's sucking the life out of me. That's how you know that's not your passion. That's not where you're meant to be.
Yeah.
It's sucking me dry. And instead you're trying to give from a barrel that you're scraping from the bottom of the barrel to give from. And it's still some good stuff when you get to the bottom of the barrel, right? We all know that. When you get to the bottom of the ice cream, it's still some good stuff down there, right? But it's not enough to sustain you and everybody else. You want to be given from your overflow.
That's right.
When your commute is getting you, when you're just driving in.
That's right.
Like we're at the corner of the barrel when we get there.
That's right. And the thought of leaving this 6-figure career just didn't feel possible for me. I felt like, and I was watching other people, it was definitely possible for them. I was watching other success stories on the internet and in the coaching world, but it didn't feel possible for me, particularly since I personally at that time was in debt up to my eyeballs. I mean, in fact, month after month, I was in the red in my checking account for upwards of $2,000. I had no savings, no liquid savings anyway, to speak of. Occasionally I'd put $200 or $300 in my savings account, but then I would have to spend it before my next paycheck just so that we could get groceries. My credit score was embarrassing, In fact, my credit score was a big part of why I felt like I couldn't leave my job, because in the legal industry at my level, I really felt that any background check would include a credit check, and that would be embarrassing. And here's an interesting fact, and I know that in our community, this is pretty relatable. I was creating all of this drama around my own money, right? But at the same time, simultaneously, I was giving money away. I was paying people's rent. I was giving above and beyond my tithe. I was giving into different ministries and different offerings. I was lending money. I was lending money to other people, and I would never be paid back. And then the very thought of asking for the money that was borrowed, asking for my money back, would fill me with dread at the thought of confrontation, And every single month, and I said this a lot, probably daily, this repeated mantra: I support others, but nobody supports me. And I felt it. Yeah. I really felt it. I was so incapable of setting, let alone holding a boundary. I had no backbone. I literally felt like a doormat. I was such a people pleaser. And honestly, Dr. Dravon, I hated that version of myself. I couldn't stand it. That version of myself would keep me up at night with all the, I should have said this, or why didn't I say that? And the stomach pain behind that, and the dread, the regret, the anxiety, and quite frankly, the bitterness. It was all residing within me. I felt like, just the possibility of telling somebody no, that would create a battle or a conflict. And honestly, that battle and conflict was inside of me. So,
yeah. What you're seeing right now, Keisha, I want to just interject 1 second. That is, a lot of people are right there. That battle and that conflict and that dread. Now you imagine trying to build and trying to create when the energy that's coming from you is a battle. It's dread, it's conflict, and then you have a magnificent passion inside of you. You have a work, a mission that you may have or may not be totally aware of, but there's something there. But it's getting a mixed message as you're putting it out into the universe, because you're also putting out I'm overworked, I'm undervalued,
Yes.
I don't know how to set boundaries, I'm full of dread, maybe some resentment, some self-pity, and we're trying to build and create on that. This is why a lot of people experience a blockage. They know where they want to go, but the energy, they're putting out two energies, and the pathway is really kind of muddy, and it's not a clear path to where you want to go.
Yeah, and when the pathway is muddy like that, what happens is self-care becomes a joke. I mean, I was living on coffee, wine, junk food, and intermittent snacking. That was my self-care regime. I was stuffing down.
And your sleep pattern was probably off too, because mine was really off.
My sleep pattern was ridiculous. I mean, the most consecutive sleep that I would get would be during the 3 hours each way on the bus. I would be in an upright position, sharing my sleep with 50 other strangers. Stuffing down my feelings of sadness and bitterness and anger and resentment with all of these sugary snacks. And it absolutely was this vicious cycle, and it spilled over into every area of my life. Relationships, healthy relationships anyway, they were non-existent, absolutely non-existent. And when it came to how I felt within my body, I certainly didn't feel sexy. Definitely.
The quickest way to rob you of your femininity, right? Because your passion doesn't do that. When you're living the brilliant life, you have that balance, and that's part of our journey, our feminine pathway. Right? That's part of our journey, right? And to have to divorce yourself from that in order to participate in your career, participate in your vocation. Right there that there is some need for tweaking. You need to edit. Something needs to be edited.
Yeah, like I was saying, I didn't feel sexy. In fact, I didn't feel much at all. I wouldn't allow my nervous system. My anxiety response was in freeze. I didn't feel much at all other than stuck. And I felt like the Walking Dead. I really did, And what's interesting is I've always been this self-proclaimed personal development junkie, even before I became a coach. And so I knew that something was off, and I knew that there was more for me, right? I just knew it. And so that's when I sought the assistance of my own mentor and my own coach to get me there, because I couldn't figure it out on my own. I just couldn't connect the dots on my own. I was really in this vicious cycle, in this loop. And so I started working with a few coaches, actually, and I gave myself a year. I gave myself 1 year, because in my mind, everything would be cured the moment I left the commute and the moment I left the job, right? So I gave myself a year to build my business and to have the evidence that I could bring on enough clients consistently, month after month, in order to support my standard of living and support the mouths that I had to feed as a single mother. And you know what happened after that year?
What? I do, but
what happened was a year went by and I didn't have that evidence that I said I wanted. Right? So I had to really start digging deep, because at that time I had like one client. One client was not going to sustain me. That was not the evidence that I said that I needed. So I really started to dig deep at that point, because I was like, wait, I know I'm on the precipice of something, but I don't have the evidence. What is going on here? What is happening? So for several weeks, I dug deeper than I ever dug before. And I did all of the internal work. And I woke up April 19th, April 20th. I woke up of 2018 and I had all of the evidence I ever needed. And in that moment, when I woke up, I knew that I knew that I knew that I deserved to be happy, and I deserved to live the brilliant life. And I've heard you on stage describe that, the difference between believing, because I didn't believe that I deserved to be happy. I didn't believe that I deserved the brilliant life. I knew that I knew, that I knew. I felt it in every single cell of my being, that knowingness. And I've heard you describe the difference between a belief and a knowingness. Can you share that with us, Dr. Dravon?
Absolutely. And I share this a lot on my keynote speaking because, people say believing is power. Believing is one part of ourselves. And of course, you do need to believe. But when you get ready to make your big dreams, make your brilliant life a reality, you need to move from believing to knowing. And it's an oceans of difference. And when I explain it to you, you'll understand how important it is. So it's an ocean of difference. When you're on the shore of believing, that's great. That's great. You're in the room. But you're going to have to cross that ocean to get to the shore of knowing. And this is the difference. If I were to say to you, do you believe your name is Keisha Dixon? Or do you know your name is Keisha Dixon? Do you feel that difference? You feel that difference,
right? My name is Keisha Dixon.
So when you get to that point, there is absolutely nothing that can separate you from your brilliant life. Not obstacles, because your mind is changed. You've gone from believing to knowing. A belief can be changed, right? People can change your belief. You get in the right room with a certain people, you won't even speak about your beliefs, right? But when you know something, it's even like this. I have been somewhere, the name Dravon is not a common name, and I've been somewhere and people have called me different names. Sometimes I've corrected them if it was appropriate, and sometimes I just let it go. Doesn't matter. I know everyday peace concepts work. I know that they do. Whether I'm a mixed company, people who don't believe, people who do believe, I know that the brilliant life concepts, the concepts that Keisha and I have partnered with together and developed in this brilliant life system, I know that they work. They have taken my life. These are the concepts that I've used, the concepts that Keisha has used, and many other people have used to take them from living a life of mediocre to a life of passion and greatness. Many people would say, oh my gosh, I would love to have a 6-figure income. Both of us had that, 6-figure incomes. And I will tell you that a 6-figure income, although it looks like wealth, without your health, without your relationships, won't at all feel like a 6-figure income. I love it when you say, Keisha, that bus ride to that 6-figure job, you often refer to as your moving coffin.
Yeah.
Your moving coffin.
Yeah, and when we talk about the brilliant life, and I'm describing this knowingness, when I woke up, the first thing I did was I quit. I quit my job. I quit my commute. But it wasn't. What I understood was it wasn't ever about the job. It wasn't ever about the commute. It was about my knowing. Like, I know my name is Keisha. It doesn't matter what anyone else calls me. The only thing I will respond to is Keisha, because that can't ever be shaken from my core. When my body knew down to my cells that I deserve happiness and I deserve the brilliant life, the only thing I can respond to is happiness and the brilliant life. And it's not saying that you have to wake up and quit your job and start becoming a full-time transformational wealth coach or whatever it else has been purposed in you. It's saying that, right. What I'm saying is that knowingness of what you deserve is what's going to drive this entire brilliant life. And so some people might be saying, she left a 6-figure career and I have a 6-figure career in the brilliant.
Right. And like you said, it looks different for each and every one of us, because I still work my corporate job. I still work in the healthcare industry. I love the work that I do. I think it's significant. It's an impact, but I love this part of my life, my passion life, where I get to work in a different part of service, right? Because honestly, we all know this. Your dream, no matter how big, no matter how small, no matter full-time or part-time or in between time, your dream will ultimately serve someone else. And that's one of the reasons that I am so passionate about assisting you, being part of your coming out process, so that you can showcase that, because it's someone who needs it, no matter how small or how huge you think it is. Someone needs to watch you do that metamorphosis. Somebody needs to watch you take that dream from here to your outside world, right? Someone needs to see you manifest. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. So I'm totally, you have no idea. It's in my heart as we talk about this.
I know. Yeah. So, okay. So I woke up, right? Quit my job, quit my commute, still had one client. But a few weeks later, no, actually a few days later, my calendar started getting filled with potential clients. A few weeks later, my calendar was filled with clients, and people were literally reaching out to me for podcasts, for magazine interviews. Over the last 16, 17 months, I've been on 2 magazine covers. I have my own radio show. Here we are, right? And I was invited to be part of a multi-city speaking tour. I sign on new clients month after month. I'm part of several collaborations. I'm in an extremely supportive network. I moved from Pennsylvania because I didn't like the weather there and I felt isolated there to sunny Florida. I did that within 13 days on a whim, found a house, closed on the house, moved into the house in 13 days. Don't regret a thing. I'm able to spend time with my daughters who still live at home. We can have breakfast, lunch, and dinner together in the summer, and breakfast and dinner together during the school year. And I made this pivot when I was 50 years old. I found my version of the brilliant life. And as Dr. Dravon was saying, we don't know what your version of the brilliant life is, right? We don't. Only you know that. And maybe you don't even know that yet. Maybe you need some clarity on that yet. But what we do know is that the steps to get there are always going to be the same. So maybe
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe your version of the brilliant life is like Dr. Dravon's, where you stay in your corporate career, but you're speaking from this more empowered place, right? Or perhaps it's where your version of a brilliant life is having a healthier and more loving relationship with your partner. Or maybe your version of a brilliant life is setting and holding these powerful boundaries that honor yourself. I'm happy to say I'm finally getting there. And it's a daily practice. It's a daily practice. Yeah. But whatever your version, whatever the path, whatever your footprint of the brilliant life is, the pathway is always the same. Regardless of where you are in life, you can get closer in achieving your brilliant life by doing the inner work. That's going to create the dramatic growth within yourself.
Yeah. That's such a good point that you bring up, Keisha, about the differences and what it's going to look like. And the pathway. And I want to add just to that too, that life is, you probably already figured this out. Life is a team sport. It is a team sport. Your vision, your goal is going to reach so many different people. And you will develop a team to help you in some form of fashion, to coach you, to support you, your administrative staff. You may start off as a party of one eventually, but as you grow and you reach more, you're going to develop a team. I would say to you, whether you're like Keisha, she left at age 50. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, you're 50s, you're cooked, you're done. You can start over today. If you're 18, you can start today. If you're 60, 70, it doesn't matter. As long as you have a passion, and I won't even say as long as you have a passion, as long as you have a feeling in your gut that says, I know like I know, there's got to be more, then I would encourage you to answer that call. That's your soul speaking to you. I know like I know that there's got to be more. I would encourage you to then seek out a partnership, someone who's going to show you the pathway, the simple steps, and how to implement those steps to get from where you are to where you need to be. And if you don't know what your passion is, then your passion right now is finding out. I know like I know, there's got to be something else. I'm not sure what it is. Get passionate about finding out what it is. That's part of your brilliant life. For those of us who know, like I said, I knew it's age 17. I didn't know it was called inspirational speaking, but I knew that it was helping people on this soul level to create a physical life of meaning for them as defined by them. And Keisha said it best. all of our goals and desires are going to look different. You know, I have a friend who wanted to be a pilot. I'm so happy that he became a pilot. Not my goal. Not my goal. I don't want to be up there. I'm a passenger. I'm a passenger. But still, the concepts of the brilliant life aid in that. Using those concepts, learning how to implement those steps, aid in that journey.
That's right. Well, part of our brilliant life journey, Dr. Dravon, has intersected, and it's to benefit those people who are seeking the brilliant life. And here's the goal. Dr. Dravon and I are on a mission, and our mission is to guide you to reach the place that you've always imagined but didn't think was possible. Whatever your version of the brilliant life is, the steps to get there, as I was saying and Dr. Dravon was saying, are always the same, and it involves that inner work, the internal growth. And those are the steps that Dr. Dravon and I walked out, and we want to show you how to walk it out as well. So we've created something very special for you. Over the course of 6 weeks in the Brilliant Life group coaching program, you'll experience 4 distinct healing breakthroughs for full transformation. The first healing breakthrough is healing your foundation of power. And this is a deeply effective, focused healing on the root sources of your current wealth, confidence, and joy set points. And we do this so you feel powerfully calm, centered, present, focused, connected, and inspired. The second healing breakthrough is healing your energy of power. And that opens you up to the next desired level of personal and financial empowerment and freedom, so that you can start to feel your powerful feelings, your rising passion, your awesomeness, your true needs, your true desires, and that softer side of you that deserves care. The third healing breakthrough is healing the power to act, so that you can start to step into a more empowered self that's powerful, confident, joyful, enthusiastic, fearless, and real. And you do this so that you can really start to feel your own inner value, this new sense of confidence, this new sense of enthusiasm and connectedness, a willingness to take risks, calculated risks, and shine, and to be excited to speak and act in brand new ways. And our fourth healing breakthrough is healing the power of self-love, which produces this steady, enthusiastic progress toward your goals while manifesting unexpected support and opportunities from the woodworks, so that you can really start to feel your heart, your undefended heart. You can start feeling your wholeness, your sense of peace. You can be warmer and kinder to yourself and to others, and you'll feel the deservingness of joy, happiness, and reward, your reward, which is the brilliant life, and you can start feeling that right now. This 4-pronged breakthrough healing process is the comprehensive and systematic approach, because it really focuses on healing the multiple aspects of yourself for true transformation and power and empowerment. And the goal and the promise that Dr. Dravon give to you during this group coaching work is a dramatic shift in the way that you show up, the way that you act, the way that you speak, and it's going to be in this new, empowered, and powerful way. And that is exactly what we want for you. That is the brilliant life.
It is a brilliant, it's a life of intention, right? Manifest intention. And I love that, because I've been having that conversation a lot with people this past week, is the act of intention. And oftentimes what we're intending to create in our life, we don't, because our actions don't match up to that intention. And so what we manifest, right, is the manifestation of our actions. So we have got to get those intentions to match the actions, and then the actions will produce the manifestation, So this brilliant life is just that. It is a brilliant pathway, a brilliant tool, a brilliant stepping stone. I love stepping stones. If you ever, I like to hike. I'm a wilderness kind of person, not too crazy wilderness, but I do like to do outdoorsy things. And having a stepping stone, a pathway, is so beautiful as we go through this journey. It could look like a jungle sometime, right? If we go through this journey, when you're taking a 3-hour bus ride to work, or you're arriving at your desk at 3:30 in the morning, those are not things that most of us say, oh my gosh, this adds to my wonderful life. I want to be on the bus for 3 hours, only to work for 10 hours, only to get back on the bus and go back for 3 more hours, right? Or I want to leave my house so that I'm in my desk chair at 3:30 in the morning and maybe not arriving back to my home at 11 o'clock at night. Stories that's our story, right? And your story may be somewhere in there in between. So I love the fact that we can come at this. We all have had our life's journey, and none of it is wasted. We're going to show you how to use those tools, the tools that you have personally gathered on your journey. And even for those who are just starting on a career, you're like, I don't have any stories. Great. Still come before you get some. Come and develop this brilliant life now. And for those of us who've been in this life for a long period of time, it's not too late to establish the brilliant life. Don't be so quick to edit down your dream and your passion. You're still worth it. It's still obtainable, and we can show you how.
Yeah, that's so beautifully said. Over this 6-week period, we're going to be holding a space and we agreed, for 4 people, right? So it's a small, intimate group setting. And we're going to have one common goal: for these 4 individuals to become the most empowered version of themselves. And the Brilliant Life is starting the week of July 29th. So, you might be asking, well, who is this for? Is this right for me? So here's the answer. If you know that you're ready to start feeling more calm, more present, more focused, more brilliant, and more effective in a way that other people will notice, then this is for you. If you're ready to feel more powerful and softer simultaneously, more alive in a way that others will notice, then the Brilliant Life is for you. If you're ready to start embodying your true, powerful self, right? And take action from your real power, your real desires, and your real needs, then this is definitely for you. If you're ready to really start to tap in and access your rock star quality, charisma, and presence whenever you need it, and to be enthusiastically willing to be seen and declare yourself as valuable, this is for you. If you're ready to start setting and holding personal boundaries that honor you and honor others without confrontation, without battle, and without trauma, then you need to be here. This is for you. And if you're ready to experience what it means to finally feel delighted being you, then this is the place to be.
If you're looking for quantitative, measurable results along your pathway, this program is for you. Quantitative, measurable outcomes along your pathway. The Brilliant Life program is for you. We are looking for, and we hope you're looking for us too, because I know that's how energy works. We're looking for people who know like they know. Something inside them is telling them, there's got to be something more. You don't have to know what the more is, but you feel it in your gut. There's got to be something more. This isn't it. You're grateful for what you have. We always must maintain that position of gratitude, right? We're grateful for where you are, but you feel it in your gut, that there has to be something more. In the Brilliant Life, this 6-week course, this 6-week intensive with us is for you. I guarantee you everyday peace along your journey to creating the Brilliant Life. It's for you.
Absolutely. Our first weekly session is going to start the week of July 29th. So we really want to get on a call with you to discuss whether or not it's going to be a good fit for you. To schedule your free call, go to bit.ly/thebrilliantlife. and we'll spend 15 to 20 minutes on the phone together and get you signed up. Dr. Dravon,
And this,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
just one last thing I want to say. Do not let fear, false evidence appearing real, do not let ego convince you that you shouldn't make that call, because you know how that works. Well, I don't know. And then you go back doing the same thing that you did last week, wanting and hoping for different results. Make the call. Join the brilliant life. You will never regret it.
Absolutely. Dr. Dravon, I want to thank you once again for this, another brilliant episode of What About Me as we discussed the brilliant life. And thank you so much to the listeners for listening in to this episode, part 4 of the brilliant life. I'm Keisha Dixon, the Tapping Queen, transformational wealth coach and creator of the Monetize Your Mind Success System and the Visibility Vixen Success System, and co-creator of The Brilliant Life. This show has been sponsored by The Brilliant Life, and we look forward to seeing you there the week of July 29th. And join me at this and every Sunday at 3 p.m. on WJMSradio.com as we continue to interrupt the internal dialogue that will keep you from experiencing your brilliant life. Thank you very much and have a wonderful week, everyone.